I'm a self-confessed personality hire. I've sold wine over the phone, paparazzi photos, ad space, but what I've always been best at is selling myself. I'm Jodie Clarke, a journalist with a knack for flying sideways into rooms that weren't built for me. Welcome to the Personality Hire, the show where instincts outrank resumes. I'm Jodie Clarke, and today I'm joined by a woman known for being unapologetically herself. She's a nationally respected broadcaster and emcee. She can talk any guy under the table when it comes to her sport knowledge. She is a footy fanatic, incredible mum, fiercely loyal friend, and she's for the girlies. Like, I have to say it. She's for the girlies. Her name is Annabelle Brett, but she's known as AB to her listeners on Mix FM. AB, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jodes.
It's a privilege to have you on.
The privilege is mine to be in this space, excitable, seeing you in your natural habitat. I love it.
Thank you. It's a habitat. It's a habitat. And we've been talking about this episode for months. Haven't we?
I just love the whole concept because it's so real. There is a personality hire in every single office, and you usually know if it's you. And if you think it's you, it's probably not. But they're imperative to the flow and the happiness of a workplace, for sure.
Absolutely. I'm with you. The workplace does not survive without them.
No way in hell. In fact, I think multiple are required in every workplace if you can afford it. Mm-hmm. But usually they take very low pay. So that's a benefit of a personality hire. They're not like a hustler who's going to ask for a crap load of money. They're just there for the good times and hopefully free shit.
Absolutely. The more free shit, the better.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let's get into the start of your career because you've moved all over the country. That requires a level of backing yourself, which we're all about, courage. I think you've kept removalists in business for maybe the better part of, 2 decades?
Actually, yeah, we were doing the maths the other day. I reckon I've spent 20 grand on removalists in a decade, which is horrifying. I don't recommend. Just leave your crap. Don't take it with you. It's not worth it, people. So I've been doing this for like nearly a decade. Mm-hmm. And before that, just, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, making a lot of mistakes along the way. But it all started sort of 2017. Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah. What a journey. When you look back at those early days, you drive a Tesla now, so you're on shmoney. Unlike myself, here's someone who's actually earning money.
I will say that I bought it before Elon Musk was crazy. I need that to be known.
I want to hear about the grimy days, when you almost thought, hey, am I ever going to get that breakfast radio job? AB and Mark on Mix FM. It's taken a long journey to get there. You've also had a #1 rating radio show with the Rush Hour. Mm-hmm. You've been at the top. You're at the top, but you've also been, you've started at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Well, working in Bega on the south coast of New South Wales was my first job. And I won't say exactly how much I was paid, but it wasn't great. In fact, every single time that someone offered to let you do trivia for a free meal, you said yes because you needed the dinner. But it's kind of good that it went that way because you learn the value of it. And also, it tests whether you're serious about doing something in the creative space because you're never going to get paid that well.
What do you think holds people back when they are actually trying to go after what they want to do? Because, I've talked about it before in other episodes. One thing I don't want to have on my deathbed is regret that you were someone that, did you always want to be in radio from a young age?
Well, no, I studied architecture and interior design thinking that I wanted to do that because I really like art and I really like painting and I thought that would transfer. And one of my mates actually back when I was at uni, she was like, I think you should do journalism and media and be a presenter. And I toed and fro with it, but I didn't have a lot of self-confidence at the time. So I'm kind of glad that I waited till I was older because I think in general, both men and women, we tend to not develop the self-confidence till a bit later. If you have it early, that is freaking awesome and harness that, but it takes a while. And I reckon if I'd done it younger, I would have probably messed it up along the way just with self-doubt, imposter syndrome and the likes.
Oh my God. A woman in media with imposter syndrome. What a refreshing concept.
Breaking news. This just in. She's the first to ever have it.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I struggle with it all the time.
It never goes away. And I actually don't think that holds people back because mostly the really successful people you meet, you'll talk to and they say they have it. So I don't think that's something that holds you back. I actually reckon the worst one in media, and I'd say you'd probably agree with this, is the people that hold themselves back and fail and mess up, and it was me at some stage early on, are the people that look at other people for validation and also watch what other people are doing and wonder why it hasn't happened to them and complain about like a level of unfairness. It's going to be unfair in media. It's subjective. Like, they don't have to say, you get the job because you've done this many years and been paid this shit for so long. It's just what happens with the magic of the combination and the chemistry of you and that person and what might be set out for that particular market in what you need to be in order to best fit for the audience. So if you're looking at someone who gets a job and going, screw her, she doesn't deserve it, I'm better than her, those are the people that I find get held back the most.
Absolutely, but we hear about it all the time, right? There's so much resentment for how the industry works because, as you've said, it isn't fair.
No.
There's so many things out of our control that dictate who does and does not get a role. How do you feel about people that have criticism towards people like myself that haven't taken the traditional path or, have weaved in and out of the industry?
I don't give a shit. I hate that as well. Like, everybody has their own journey and it doesn't mean that they haven't worked hard. That's, once again, it's all these people, and I've met them in radio throughout the process. And they'll say, oh, I should be getting that job because I've spent 7 years in Griffith or Shepparton or whatever, and therefore I've put in more work than this person who went to Bunbury, which is a bigger market. And they just compare themselves the whole time. I don't think it matters. Everyone has a different journey. And that experience is like valid in what they're trying to produce and deliver in terms of content. So just because they haven't done that rough guts development doesn't mean they're not good. I mean, I've met footy players, like ex-footy players who've stepped right into Sydney breakfast radio shows, and they've worked really hard to get that. And that's fine. They might get it in the moment and you go, that's bullshit. That guy's never done any media. But if they're crap, they will not last. So they have to put the work in to stay there. And I think it's better, personally, from my journey, to have gone little to big rather than just start at the top and fuck it up, because you probably will, and have that security knowing that you've developed yourself along the way rather than like, oh, this could be the ruining of me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think no matter how you get in the door, as you say, it takes some level of, grit, talent and ability to stay there, because if they were crap and they weren't producing results, they simply just wouldn't last in this industry. It's too brutal.
Totally. And it's disastrous. If you lose that big metro job, you don't get another one. Whereas if you lose a little one along the way because you've made a mistake, you can get yourself back up. You can build back up and still keep working. Plus, there's something to be said for like losing that goal. Once you get the goal, what do you do? Where's your drive coming from? Keeping it? Because it probably will, but you'll get a level of arrogance. I think it's always good to have something up there that you're still thinking one day.
Is there any moment in your journey that you've really questioned, oh, is this worth it? Like you've just a significant low point where you were just sort of overcome with doubt, or the pressure was getting to you, that you are open to sharing? Yeah,
absolutely. I've had two. One was last year when I lost my job. I was on maternity leave and I was living in Townsville, and I didn't think there was anything that was going to come from it. I thought I'd probably have to pivot. And pivoting is fine, but when you've just had a baby, you're like, how am I ever going to be able to find the time to invest in something from the beginning? But it worked out really well. I ended up getting this job. The other one was when I did a maternity leave contract in Canberra on this drive show, and I started working with the guy. It was 6 months and he hated me from day one. He did not want me to be there. He was awful to me throughout the whole process. It was horrendous. And the girl that was on maternity leave was a friend originally, and she was really uneasy about maternity leave and just the pressure of like having someone else fill your role, which I completely understand. So that was an awful role. It wrapped up and I didn't have any prospects, and I thought this will be such a great step. I'm going to this like metro market. Everyone will want to give me a job afterwards, and nothing came of it. And I thought this like has completely ruined my career because it's been so horrible. And I moved back to Queensland and I met with this guy, Jack Ball, who's the content director of B105 in Brisbane. And he was like, nah, come on board, let's do some work. I worked in podcasting from there, and he supported me and made me feel validated. And I worked with Rizz and Sarah, those two girls.
Oh, they're the best.
The best.
Shout out.
The best. And they just brought my confidence back up. So that was helpful. I want everyone to know that if you do have those moments, if you haven't had them yet, don't be fearful of them, because the good people will emerge and just the good opportunities, and the path will change, but it'll be better.
Well, I actually think you've been that person for me, AB, because I was going through it recently and you were so supportive. And I think that is such a rarity in this industry, particularly with women. We're often pitted against each other. It can be competitive, and there's this like undercurrent of just weird competitive vibes. But the moment I moved here, you were open to putting me onto opportunities, introducing me to people, and that to me was so refreshing.
Well, we have to combat this myth that, one, women are each other's worst enemy, and secondly, that we're going to undo each other. We don't have to do that. We can actually challenge that and be friends. And I promise, when people do it, it all works out in the best possible way. You don't know that that girl that's your competition now isn't going to be a boss in 2 years. You don't know that she's not going to be able to give you an opportunity. It's not going to hurt her. Like, she's not, you're not going to make her fail by being mean to her. Trust me, you'll probably bring her up more. If you just be nice to people and friendly and supportive and over welcoming, like, it's only going to bring good your way.
So we've talked the low. Let's get into the highs. Okay. Tell me about some of the high points in your career, because you've absolutely had some.
Yeah, I mean, like, the last job I did, Triple M, was across the whole of Queensland, and that was really cool. Like you said, I love sport, so being able to do that was epic. And I really, like, 10 years ago when I was at uni, I was working at the Queensland Reds, which is the rugby union team. And I saw the girl that was on field at the time being the MC, and I thought, I really want to do that. I really want to be a sports MC. I want to commentate a footy game. That would just be my ultimate dream. And I now have done that. Like, when I was at Triple M, the Dolphins wanted me to become their inaugural MC, which was enormous. And I flew down for those games from Townsville, and I'd come home and my husband was like, oh, don't you get stressed by that? And I was like, I literally would do it for free.
Now, the show is called The Personality Hire, so we have to get deeper in this very serious topic. Have you ever worked with a personality hire? What is your take on this phenomenon?
Yeah, gosh, there's one in particular who he'll be a personality hire for the rest of his career. I'm going to give him a shout out. Daniel Doody, news reporter. He used to be on Studio 10. The guy's a human sunbeam. It's funny. I don't think it was ever like really established as a term until the last sort of 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, it's new.
COVID was big for it.
Yeah.
But it's always existed. Like, you always have that one person who's beloved. They could win Staff Member of the Month every single month. And they usually aren't a super like driven, competitive type person, but they can be. They're just there for the long haul and they have a good time.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a bit of a unicorn in the sense that I'm definitely a personality hire, but I also do the work.
Yeah.
I can't, like, in my job,
too.
I couldn't just sit there and twiddle my thumbs. It would not work.
It gets different the older you get, for sure too. And even just being a mum, like, I can't give my office the same amount of time as I previously had. Like, I can't go, oh yeah, I'll go to lunch with everyone, I'll do this, I'll do that. Like, you got to go home. But you can still make those bursts of time quality time. And
what do you think is the winning ratio? If we were to look at, I've actually got some very scientific data around this. Yeah, I've produced some content which I will drop just to further highlight the data around this. But what is the winning ratio in your view in terms of personality versus hard skills? I think the more personality we have, the less we rely on hard skills. That's just what the data has shown me through my research.
Mate, 100%. You can fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
You can, like you say, like, the pizzazz will outweigh the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
If you've forgotten the PowerPoint and you do a big song and dance and talk about it and be real with people, they're not going to remember that there was a PowerPoint.
Well, people only remember around 7% of what you say.
Totally.
They remember more the vibe of, oh, I liked that. I liked her energy, particularly with speech, when you make a speech. They're not thinking of every word. They're just thinking, how did I feel about that? Did I enjoy that? And it's usually either a yay or nay.
True. And a bit of jazz hands, a bit of theatre of the mind. You can completely mislead someone into the fact that you've been incompetent in something. I know that not everyone has that ability and some will rely on hard work, but play to your strengths.
I think that's it. I think it's all about playing to your strengths and amplifying those rather than highlighting your weaknesses.
Oh, 1,000%.
Why do you think there's such resentment towards personality hires?
Because they want to be the personality. No, I think that they think that it's someone incompetent, which is so untrue.
You also got me into Fisk, which is my new obsession. And we've both discussed that Aaron Chen is a bit of a he's not your stereotypical personality hire, but he thinks of himself as the webmaster.
He's pretty incompetent in his job, but there's humour in that because we don't have to work with him.
Exactly. And he's there. He's just there because he's there. What does he actually do?
Breaks printers, doesn't answer calls or reception stuff, has like incredibly long, awkward pauses all the time.
Yeah.
Which I love for humour. But he glues the place together with his weirdness.
He's the office glue, which I think is really the core role of a personality hire and why they're on the payroll if you think about it.
Well, the personality hire can also go to the really like introverted office accountant people or whatever and connect them together with the loudmouth radio announcer or whatever. Like they can make everybody come together as one, even though it seems like an impossible task.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I feel like there's some offices where I've been more of a PH than others, depending on the culture of the place.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think another way that you can tell when you're a personality hire, by the way, is when your work introduces some kind of social committee and you're on it. Can confirm I have been on every single one at every place I've worked at. In fact, I got the invite last week for my new one.
Well, that's usually a strong indicator that you are.
It's Culture Club or something. It's always like,
It's always Culture Club. We need a new name. Why is it always Culture Club? Yeah.
Don't know. But they're always saying, we think you best represent the group. Come together and help us plan parties. It's a very serious role. I take with great pride.
It's a very serious role. Another theme of the potty that we need to get into is this idea of getting to the top on your own terms. You know? But in saying that, AB, it's much easier said than done.
Yeah. Oh, well, you definitely can't choose your own pace when it's like competitive and there's not many jobs and it's a dying industry.
How do people back themselves when they have a lot stacked up against them? You know, we've talked about the pressures of raising a family, industry limitations, financial pressures. Some people might have, a dream to be something completely different, but their financial situation prevents that from happening. And I think as well, like I've jumped around a lot and experimented a lot in my career, but that is also coming from a place of privilege. I'm young. I don't have any big financial responsibilities weighing over me. I don't have children or dependents I have to consider. It might not be as easy for me if I was in a different situation.
I think you have to be open to pivot. So I'll give you a couple of examples of ones that I've seen where it's worked out for the better. Christian Hull, and
we love him.
He's amazing.
Obsessed, yeah.
And then 100% that Tim on Instagram and TikTok. He's this guy, Tim, who I worked with. I worked with both of these guys in radio and they were both digital guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what their actual progression plans were at the time, but I imagine that they wanted to get on air or like do something performative and they didn't. And they had different reasons that they were held back, whatever it was. And so from that, both of them started creating content on their own and look at them now.
It's crazy.
They far surpassed anything they could have achieved by following a traditional media route.
Yeah.
They've done that themselves. They've made their own media empires just because they thought, they were told no, obviously a lot of times, and they said, nah, fuck it. I'm going to do my own thing and set the standard there.
Absolutely. And I think we're not hitting it. We're now in the age, in my opinion, of personality-led content. And I don't think a lot of these entertainment or audio companies know how to break talent anymore. They want people coming to them already with a built-in audience and momentum. And to me, I'm kind of like, well, then... But by the time we're there, we won't need you. So what is the point? Once we can monetize, we won't need to be under a network. So don't you think that's kind of counterproductive?
It also doesn't always work. I worked at Listener, which is the podcast company, and there was famously a girl who was an influencer. She had 1 million followers, and they brought her in to do a podcast, and we would get the monthly podcast rankings of all the numbers of downloads. She was 200 downloads a month. Whereas people that I worked with that had much smaller followings, if any, were raking in 10,000 an episode.
Yeah.
I don't think that following necessarily means
equates to downloads.
Yeah, I don't think it translates. And there's been radio shows and podcasts where their social clips are really great, but then when you listen to the show, you're like, this is nothing like that. So they might get a lot of hit engagement online, but it doesn't necessarily translate to listenership.
Yeah. Or just consistency on even a fresh take. I think we're all a bit fatigued by the same old influencer content, not shitting on anyone.
I think that there's either a niche that's like unique and you're going to be the first person to do that, or you have that good of a personality and you're that different that people are like, actually, no, I prefer her or him for that than the one I've previously listened to.
Some people just have a certain likability about them, right? And it's just undeniable.
Totally. Like, I mean, look at Call Her Daddy.
Yeah.
That's 100% based on her personality. Mm-hmm. People like her as a person. They find her non-threatening, easygoing. They don't like everything she does, but she's not like overly controversial. So they just follow the journey.
Exactly. And it's actually been really inspiring just to see Alex pivot from what was really raunchy conversations to now she's interviewing the vice president of the United States.
Yeah.
It's like crazy what can be possible.
But also the vice president of the United States and any politician, you saw this before the Australian federal election, they're all like, we can put newspaper ads in and target boomers, but then we got to do a TikTok dance with a Gen Zer to get their audience over the line. So we have the power to enact change. They just have to figure out how to mess with us.
Mm-hmm. That's some real shit. That's some real
very real.
That's some real talk.
I mean, you'll see Anthony Albanese was like doing Abby Chatfield podcasts and stuff. He knew what he was doing. He knew. Exactly.
And as we also saw, the people that didn't know what they were doing, unfortunately, lucked out.
Yeah, they did. They did.
So it is what it is. And, you know, but there's also a lot of challenges around doing your own thing. I think, you know, we talked about imposter syndrome, but you're bang on in the sense of anyone that I know and even myself. I think what people don't realize is that we all feel the fear. We just do it anyway. Like, I had so much fear around launching my own podcast because it's all on me.
Yeah. When you can only bank on yourself, it's harder.
You've got to bank on yourself. Even you every day, like, yeah, you have a co-host, but ultimately you're still driving the ship. And it's also, you know, I've put my own money into the show. When you have a vision and you want to execute at a certain level, you have to back yourself. And backing yourself can also be expensive. Like, let's be real.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
You know? And even these cards, like the density of these cards that I've made, I had to go to Officeworks. I had to, you know, pay for the card myself. It gets very expensive.
It adds up.
And also, it adds up, Joel. Even the rizz stick, I had to buy this from Amazon. It's an expensive industry.
I think that's going to have a lot of other uses, though.
Yeah,
long
this
term.
is a versatile product.
I don't want to go into them because they're a bit, you know.
Yeah, it's a family show. I really want to keep this one.
Sorry, kids in the car.
My last one was a bit raunch, so I really want to keep this one brand safe. Can you share some of the working realities of being a 6-figure radio star?
Oh, wow. I mean, it's really early mornings when you do breakfast radio.
Yes.
That's a crap bit. And particularly this market because they want us to start on air at 5 a.m. Some of them start on air at 6 a.m. That's manageable. 5 a.m. is a bit brutal.
That is brutal.
But, yeah, so there's that. There's also, there is that imposter syndrome of worrying that people will hate you just for who you are.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you sit down and your bosses go through stuff and they go, oh, you know, according to our numbers, you're a little bit down on male audience. And then you think to yourself, far out, I love NRL, I love rugby union, cricket, AFL, whatever. I talk about sport all the time. How can they still hate me? Like you'll be racked with fear sometimes of rejection. That's inevitable. You start to become stronger about it because you go, well, just because one tiny person has said this one thing doesn't mean that it's the general consensus. But you're always like thinking that you need to change your personality to not fit in, but to be the best and to be the most likable. So there is that. I guess being a woman too, it's really weird when you have a kid and you start to like approach your 40s too, you kind of lose your identity. You've gone from being this like easygoing career person to then this mum, and people treat you different. Like people don't it's funny. I work with a guy and he's 40. He's 5 years older than me and he has a kid and I'm 36 and I have a kid. And the young people at my work still will like ask him out for drinks and stuff like that. But they look at you and they go, oh, you're a mum. No, you can't possibly.
We go out for drinks all the time. You love a drink.
Yeah, but they just don't. People treat mums different. I don't know what it is.
It's
they
bizarre.
just think like, oh yeah, no, he'll be fine. But
Do they just think
I literally am married to a guy who's a stay-at-home dad at the moment, but they're still like, you'll see it. They start to treat you different, and then as a result, you're a different person on air, and you want to talk about your kid, but not too much, because if you talk about your kid too much, trust me, people will let you know. That's all you have going for you. You have to still have other elements of your personality. But if everyone puts you in this box of just being a mum, how the hell else do you get another personality?
It's true. But yeah, that is bizarre. We are just, this conversation has been so lit. We are just, we're speeding through time, doll. We're running out of time. So
we're media professionals.
We can talk, we can yap all day is what we can do. So we need to get into our rapid rizz round.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready? It's 5 chaotic questions, no time to overthink.
Okay, go.
Okay. What's your weapon in a boring workplace?
Photos of my dog.
Photos of your
Or
dog.
baby, but you got to gauge it. Some people don't care about kids.
Yeah. Okay.
Extra points for videos.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The TikTok goes off.
Yeah, 1,000%.
The TikTokies go off. I just think me being just positively insane every day is what gets me through.
It does the job.
It does the job, doll. Least favourite corporate buzzword?
I don't hear it enough anymore, but I used to watch a lot of 30 Rock and they would like Jack Donaghy, the Alec Baldwin character, would always use this word in like a ironic way. Synergy. Like we're joining, like it's a great synergy between marketing and communications and blah. It doesn't mean anything. Just say connection.
Or even relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Synergy. Death to synergy.
It's a cringe word.
I've written down in this space when people...
Oh, yeah.
In this space. What space? What space are we talking about? Where are we? What in the Jeff Bezos is going on?
And I love... it's not what I hate, it's what I love, but Justin Bieber doing the standing on my business.
Oh.
I'm all about that now. I love using it in the wrong way, intentionally.
I love standing on... It's not clocking to you.
Yeah.
It's not clocking to you.
Is it just not clocking?
Is it not clocking to you that I'm standing on business? I love him for that. That's a career breakthrough. Worst workplace meal you've ever witnessed?
A guy that I worked with once bought snails in, like escargot. He was French, to be fair.
Okay.
But
we're not shaming our French listeners.
And each to their own, but I'm like,
Yeah.
have that at a restaurant. Don't have that at work.
That's a lot. Okay.
And they smelt really bad.
On that note, I actually have a very relevant story to share because we had a dude in my workplace. I won't share which workplace it was, but let's just say
It rhymes with Schmevin News. It rhymes with Schmover Radio.
it may rhyme with either Schmover or Schmevin Schmooze.
Or the Schmishmashmo.
And he was copping a bit of flack for bringing in things like he was making entire home-cooked meals in the office. I'm talking salmon in the sandwich press. It was stinking us all out to the point where an email circulated. I'm going to read you that email.
Yeah, read me the email.
Because it's a lot. Subject, kitchen smells.
Wow, straight to the point.
Straight to the point. She ain't playing games. To whom it may concern, whoever is responsible for the atrocious smell coming from the main kitchen has absolutely no consideration to the other staff in this building. That odour should be known as olfactory assault or at the very least nasal abuse. Next time, please leave it at home. Cheers.
Wow, I bet HR was all over that.
I kind of love it. It's kind of hilarious. But
I do too, but you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it
You have to go to a
savage.
manager who writes it for you and they write it in a friendly way.
It was savage. It was savage, but yeah, slightly funny, but also savage. Don't send emails like that because HR will be on your ass, but it was funny at the time.
Yeah.
It was funny. Shout out to him. You've just resigned. Okay, we're painting a picture.
Yeah.
Are you a classy farewell email or dramatic walkout?
Oh, gosh. I hate that I've always been the classy farewell email person because I want to one day in my life do dramatic walkout, but unfortunately we work in industries that are too subjective. Annoying. I want to be the person that flips the desk and walks out and says,
Ooh.
F this and like,
You have been an absolute treat. Thank you so much for coming on the Personality Hire.
Thank you. Personality hired.
Where rizz is a resume. I think it's quite evident that rizz is definitely a big part of your resume. Let's give it up for AB.
Stop.
She's a real one. She's for the girlies.